Good morning. It's about 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 15, 2023, and we will begin a public hearing of the State Bar of California to receive public comment on proposed new rule of professional conduct 8.3. My name is Brandon Krieger. I serve as the vice chair of the State Bar's Committee on Professional Responsibility and Conduct, known as COPRAC. The rules of professional conduct are professional responsibility standards, the violation of which will subject an attorney to discipline. Pursuant to Business and Professions Code 6077, the State Bar is charged with developing and adopting amendments to the rules of professional conduct for approval by the California Supreme Court. In furtherance of this responsibility, the chair of the State Bar Board of Trustees assigned COPRAC to prepare a proposal for a new rule of professional conduct addressing a lawyer's duty to report the misconduct of another lawyer. COPRAC was asked to consider American Bar Association Model Rule 8.3 and variations of that rule adopted in other jurisdictions, as well as past considerations of Model Rule 8.3 by the State Bar Rules Revision Commission in drafting its proposed rule. The State Bar staff has caused notice of this hearing to be issued by several methods, including a posting at the State Bar website, email notifications to interested persons, and social media posts. This public hearing is being recorded and has been authorized by the Board of Trustees, which oversees the work of the committee. The recording of this public hearing will be made available to the members of the board. We will begin with those who have pre-registered to speak using the online sign-up form, and then we will move on to those who have virtually raised their hands in Zoom. For those who are participating by Zoom video, you may virtually raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon that appears at the bottom center of your screen. For those who are participating by phone, you may virtually raise your hand by pressing *9. That is the star key, then the number 9. Again, doing so will alert staff that you would like to make a comment, and State Bar staff will call on you in order to unmute your microphones so you can address the committee. Please speak clearly. Begin by stating and then spelling your name. This is important for two reasons. It helps to assure that your comment is properly attributed to you, and it will serve as a sound check. Due to time restrictions, we cannot allow more than 2 minutes for each speaker. Please note that staff will be timing all attendees during the duration of your public comment. The timer's 2-minute countdown will begin as soon as you start your comment, and you will be verbally alerted once you have 30 seconds remaining. If you have written materials that you have not previously submitted, please email them to Ms. Marlowe at angela.marlowe@calbar.ca.gov. We will provide her email address in the chat as well. Supporting written materials will become part of the public record of this proceeding. In addition to this public hearing, a 30-day period to receive public comment on the proposed rules has been authorized by the board, and the deadline for submission of written public comment is February 17, 2023. We'll begin by introducing the committee member panelists. Cassidy Chivers, you can show it. All right. Joel Mark and Hunter Starr. We have one more who may or may not be joining us, William Munoz. Angela, you can call the first speaker, please.
First speaker on the list is identified as speaker 8876. If you can raise your hand or press *9 to identify yourself, that would be appreciated. Okay, they are not there, so I will move down the list. Richard Oberto, please raise your hand or use the *9 function. Richard is not here. Next, we have Todd Hill. Todd, please use the raise hand function to identify yourself. Okay, Todd is not here. And lastly, on the sign-in sheet, we have Kevin Moda. Kevin, please use the raise hand function. Okay, I don't have Kevin, so I will proceed by going down people who are here. The first speaker is Reverend Frank. Reverend, your mic has been unmuted. Please state and spell your name for the record, and then you'll have 2 minutes to provide your public comment.
All right, it's Reverend, R-E-V-E-R-E-N-D, Frank, F-R-A-N-K. The question I have on the rule 8.3 under A, it says a lawyer that knows another lawyer has committed a violation of the rules that raises a substantial question. Have you guys defined what is or is not a substantial question? Because that leaves a lot of wiggle room for anybody to say, well, I didn't think it really raised that much of a problem. The thing that we see with lawyers a lot lately is they leave themselves open to interpretation to where we say what we want to do with the rule today, but tomorrow we're going to ignore it because it doesn't raise substantial. But have you guys defined what is substantial? Part of my problem with the state bar is I have reported that Vanessa Holton committed a felony as the general counsel of the State Bar of California. It has been ignored by Leah Wilson. If you go to vanessaholton.com, I have laid out everything. I have a state bar complaint filed on the 22nd. I have the police report that they say Vanessa filed on the 23rd. I have police calls on the 25th and 26th recordings from Officer Bellamy threatening me to take down my First Amendment right to a free speech website. And then Larry, what is his name? Larry, the guy that is prosecuting John right now, he has to be brought in to defend Vanessa.
30 seconds.
If I report this to you guys here now, are you guys going to be required to do something about it? Especially against a state bar employee. What are your plans for prosecuting state bar employees that bring complaints like this? Or is this going to be ignored like you guys are doing on a lot of other things that we've complained about over the past couple of years, especially with the Michael Avenatti, the Joe, or the case.
Thank you, Reverend. That is time. The next speaker is NC Carlson. NC, your mic has been unmuted. Please state and spell your name for the record, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Nancy Carlson, Nancy-Carlson. Erica, I did submit something via email. Did you get it? The written by chance?
I did receive it.
Okay. Would you prefer you just submit that in the written form so I don't have to take up time for other attendees? Does that,
yes, it will be part of the written public comments that will be distributed to COPRAC and eventually the Board of Trustees.
I just want to make your meeting more efficient. Okay, if you've got that, then I'll leave it at that. How's that?
Great.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you, NC. Our next public speaker is Richard Oberto. Richard, your mic has been unmuted. Please state and spell your name for the record, and then you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Richard Oberto, R-I-C-H-A-R-D-O-B-E-R-T-O. I want to let you know I tried to tune in via phone and I was raising my hand using the *9 function and it was not working. I noticed that nobody who was scheduled to speak by phone was able to speak. And in my case, that was because of the technology is not functioning properly and wasn't transmitting to you. I submitted a written statement opposing this proposed rule. I mean, it would turn the state bar into like a court for a bunch of reports that are not worthy of a police report. If there's a real crime happening or that's happened, a person would report it to the police. This would require lawyers, if there's some kind of innuendo or rumor that falls well short of something that a person would report to the police, that a person would still have to report that to the bar. This is going to create a great big mess and is going to make the state bar a clearinghouse for like petty claims involving rumor and innuendo. And it's going to make a tremendous hassle. Well, it's going to make create tremendous problems for people. And I think that the state bar should rely on the criminal justice system to adjudicate crimes. And the state bar should not be some kind of lesser criminal court for something that's not worthy of presentation in a DA's office, police department, or a courtroom. And
30 seconds.
well, that was it. I hope this, you guys figure out as well what's happening with the phone lines, because that was a problem for me and some other people were not able to tune in that way. So I'll submit on that in my written statement.
Thank you, Richard. Is there anybody else who would like to give public comment? Please use the raise hand function. Brandon, I don't have any more raised hands at this time.
So if that's all the public comment, do we conclude the hearing now?
We would likely take a recess to see if anyone else would like to attend.
Okay. It is now 11 minutes after 10. All persons who are present to provide public comment have been given an opportunity to speak. And we will be taking a 10-minute break to see if anyone else wishes to speak. We will resume at 10:22. Hello, we are back for the public hearing on the proposed rule of professional conduct 8.3. We've been waiting approximately 10 minutes to see if anybody else is interested in making any public comments. Angela and Erica, do we have any other public commenters?
If there's anyone who'd like to give a public comment, please use the raise hand function at this time. Okay, we do have one. Diana Christian. Diana, your mic has been unmuted. Please state and spell your name for the record, and then you'll have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Diana Christian. That's DianaChristian. I'm an attorney in California, and I saw the notes regarding this proposed rule. I think, I had some hesitation because the last comment was a very good point about, maybe concern about wild goose chases for potential criminal conduct. But I think that the rule provides kind of a protection there because it states that you have to have personal knowledge of the alleged criminal act. So if it's something that you heard, that would be someone that wouldn't have personal knowledge. I think there's a lot of instances where attorneys are, if not required to report criminal conduct, there may be reluctancy, especially if it, wouldn't violate another rule of professional responsibility. This would be an avenue that, what if it's concerning your business partners? A situation that you wouldn't necessarily want to be, kind of a whistleblower, but in this way, you'd be forced to because it could cost you your license if you don't. And that's something I think that should be considered because along with the wild goose chases, there are also some very legitimate concerns and criminal conduct that may not otherwise be reported that should be.
Thank you, Diana. The next speaker we have is AG. AG, your mic has been unmuted. Please state and spell your name for the record, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Amber Galloway, AmberGallaway. I'm one of the former Girardi Keys clients. My family was one of the last before it was shut down. And I appreciate you guys doing this. I presented this as a change that I was hoping to get made a year ago. And I know how slow it is to actually see things through, but I really appreciate you guys doing this. It came to my attention through the whole Girardi case unfolding that California was one of the only states that does not have this rule, and that was shocking. And that's been one of the things that we've been up against. We still don't have counsel, even though it's been publicized widely about how egregious the misconduct was at that firm. A lot of people will hear us out, but won't help us. And then at the end of the conversation, we'll end it by telling us how they're friends with so-and-so. It's just, it's shocking to see the conduct carry on still today, where everybody's just protecting each other. And on that note, it also came to my attention how this committee has a member that is part of a firm that's representing one of the Girardi Keys attorneys that is under investigation right now.
30 seconds, Amber.
And then also I wanted to make note that on the comment for the proposed rule under number 2, it says this rule does not apply to a lawyer who is consulted about or retained to represent a lawyer whose conduct is in question. That seems like a huge loophole to me, and I can see that being in place and everybody just like talking to each other. So that rule applies to them in this Girardi network.
Your
which-
time's up, Amber. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to give public comment? Please use the raise hand function.
No one else, Angela?
No, nobody else.
Unless anyone else would like to speak, I'm going to adjourn our public hearing. We will adjourn the public hearing. As a reminder, there is still time to submit written public comment on the proposed rules. The deadline for submission of written comment is February 17, 2023. I'd like to thank all of the speakers and other attendees. It is now 10:28 a.m. This public hearing is adjourned, and I wish everyone a good day.